So in this video, we're going to see Kevin O'Leary struggle to defend Donald Trump and absolutely bend himself into a pretzel trying to justify all the actions Donald Trump is currently doing. As usual, let's watch the clip in full and then I'll give you my thoughts towards the end.
To get an insight into what on earth is going on, I spoke to Kevin O'Leary. He's Canadian by birth, but well known in the USA for starring in their equivalent of Dragon's Den. He's a backer and friend of Donald Trump, an associate of Elon Musk, and he's in the running to buy TikTok. I started by asking him about the impact here in the UK.
There is uncertainty, but here's the better way to look at it, again, looking at the big picture regarding all 15 countries, UK included. There has been an imbalance depending on service or commodity for decades, since the Second World War. If we're tariffing a particular product in the US at 2% coming in from Great Britain, and you're tariffing the exact same commodity at 110%, we're just going to match you at 110. We're going to go reciprocal. The majority of the narrative going on the 15 countries is not punitive tariffs.
British government, the Prime Minister went out of his way to sort of pay respect to the new president, to have an invitation to come to Buckingham Palace for a state visit, and kind of the thanks that we get for it here is being included on global tariffs on steel, and just this week global tariffs on car makers, and cars are our biggest exports to the US. So it feels...
You know, I heard Mark Carney say that an hour ago. So you're using the same rhetoric that the Canadian Prime Minister is using. It's fun to fight back and get the war words out. This is how they don't respect us, yada, 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 yada. It's a negotiation.
And we just have to accept that, you think? Every country in the world has to accept
No,
it.
you don't. You can spit fire and anything you want to do, but the U.S. is the largest economy on earth. And in the end, rational minds basically work this out, because if somebody said to me, look, I just don't like what Trump says, and the Canadians are doing that right now. We're just going to cut ourselves off the United States. That's the most stupid thing I've ever heard.
It's having a real impact on businesses who are hoarding goods already. Stock markets are falling. The uncertainty is really hitting business, even before we know how extensive this announcement will be next week.
Yes, and there will be a lot of uncertainty, but I think April 2nd is the crucial date, and I'll tell you why. I think what's going to occur is these schedules will come out, rational minds will look at them and say, look, we're going to focus on these that make the most difference to us in the UK. We're going to resolve those first, and the minor ones we'll let float for a while. Obviously, as you pointed out earlier, it's taken a real toll on price-earnings ratios on the largest markets around the world, including in the UK. And having lived through volatility, there looks like a lot of opportunity. Some great companies have basically, in some cases, lost 40% of their value in going into this uncertainty. The question for the investors to say is, when there's blood in the streets, is there time to invest? That's how I'm looking at it. So I'm waiting to see how it gets resolved with the UK. I'm very interested in financial services over there. A lot of interesting industries and development in crypto in the UK. Lots of different things to look at that I'm interested in, and they have been crushed in this uncertainty. So yes, but it's also an opportunity. I hate to say that, but it's true.
Is it not more the fact that perhaps the most bizarre aspect of this is that it's America's closest allies that seems to be almost being systematically targeted in this effort?
It's interesting. It has never been done this way, but here's a good analogy for this. You've been married 50 years, and you've gone through all kinds of good times and bad times. And I don't think there's any difference between the marriage between the UK and the US. It is a marriage, and you were dating before this First World War. It kind of got more serious. Finally got married the Second World War, and now we're having a little tiff. Get over it. We're going to stay married, 100%.
You're Canadian, and the relationship with Canada, and it's fair, as you pointed out already, extraordinary developments there. The new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, saying that the traditional relationship between the US and Canada, it's over, and that the US is trying to weaken or even own Canada. I mean, he's just responding to what Donald Trump has said.
Yes, that's wonderful rhetoric if you're trying to rile the base. And the polls are all over the place right now in
No,
Canada.
but
I was looking.
he has said that, Kevin. The president has
No, no,
said that.
he did, and he will continue to say it until for another 4.5 weeks.
But the fact is, he's well ahead in the polls now, and is the favourite
Yes,
to
but the
remain
only
Prime
way he
Minister.
got there is he said, existential threat. We must get hysterical about Trump.
All of this is rebounding on what other countries feel could be the US administration's weak spot. And it looks like Elon Musk and Tesla, maybe it. Share price is tanking. Sales in Europe are tanking. There's a day of global protests against Tesla tomorrow. And he didn't look particularly comfortable in the interviews he was doing. He looked like it was affecting him, all of this pressure on on his main company, Tesla.
When you watch that interview, that is actually how Elon is every day.
Yeah.
He always looks like that. So that's nothing new. He stays focused on the signal and doesn't care at all about the noise. I'm sure he feels badly for the people that are going to spend 20 years in jail burning his cars.
You're a businessman, very successful. He's very, very successful. And he built a business on a certain type of customer that, rightly or wrongly, he's alienated and who have the freedom of will to be able to buy what cars they want to. And certainly in parts of Europe, sales are tanking. That there has been some collateral damage, if you like, to his work in government, which some people will like, some people won't like. But it may be affecting his bottom line.
Fundamentally, if you want to buy an electric car, the best one on earth made is a Tesla. And so you may have a political view for the next 90 days about Tesla, but this too will pass. You know, it's probably a buying opportunity as a stock. I own the stock. It's very volatile. I've watched this happen multiple times. The share price all over the map, but it still gains share and it's still the best car.
Well, Kevin, thanks. We'll have to leave that there. Thanks so much for joining us on Newsnight.
So straight away, like the very start of the interview, you could see when he was speaking. Now, if you know Kevin O'Leary, you know this guy, he speaks quite fast. You know, he's very confident what he's saying. He started at the interview visibly struggling, and you could tell he was watching his words, what it is that he was saying. And the reason as to why is because a lot of these Donald Trump mouthpieces, they're having to go out and they're having to justify what can't be justified. Now, the maddest thing is this: he's a businessman and he can see that Americans are hurting as a direct reflection of what's happening with these tariffs. He can see that. He can also see what's happening as a result of some of the things that Elon has done, Social Security, some of the cuts, USAID, people all around the world. But because of the fact he's a businessman, well, his thought process is business first, making money first. That's where his focus is, and that's what he's going to focus on. And you can see that's the reason why he's still trying to justify it. Now, let's have it right. Donald Trump did not explain to the American people that they were going to go through this period of hardship. He didn't explain to people that as a result of him achieving his plan, his strategy, they were going to have to suffer when it comes to their 401ks, suffer when it comes to Social Security, and suffer as a result of everything that it is that he's doing. He never explained that. Now, when you listen to what Kevin O'Leary said, you can tell he only cares about what's going on from an investor's standpoint. That's the reason as to why he used that the blood in the streets quote. Because what that quote means, and what it means is that obviously when things are on a decline, it means it's cheap as an investor. So what do? You go out there and you buy a lot more of it. So eventually when or if it rises, then obviously you're going to make gains in the market. But only entrepreneurs, business people, and investors are thinking about that sort of stuff. The average everyday person isn't thinking about that because the average everyday person probably doesn't invest. You know? So you can tell all he is doing, Kevin O'Leary, is defending himself, his wealthy friends, wealthy individuals as well. And you can see what the mentality is from this administration and the people that are around this administration. You literally heard what it is that he said. We basically need to shut up and get over it because this has been a marriage as long as time. And that is what it is that these people are thinking in regards to other countries, in particular my country here in the UK, and what it is that they feel about the job that it is that Donald Trump's doing. You also heard him towards the end responding and sticking up for Elon Musk. Listen, once again, you can't defend the indefensible. You can't. You're sticking up for Elon Musk, who once again is hurting Americans. And this is the problem when it comes to what I like to call these biz bros, these entrepreneurs. I'm a person who is for entrepreneurship. I love it. I encourage it. I am an entrepreneur myself. But one of the things about me is never would I want to be an entrepreneur and make money and defend other entrepreneurs who make money as a result of hurting the masses. Crazy interview by Kevin O'Leary. You can't defend the indefensible, in my opinion. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video. I'd be really intrigued to hear your guys' thoughts and ideas below. As per usual, if this is the first time you've come across the channel, do me a massive favor, go below and hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you guys as part of the family. And also hit the thumbs up button purely for the YouTube algorithm, and let's get this video in front of as many people as possible. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.